How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.
My name is Jonathan Gillum.
And this is The Experts. This is Jonathan Gillum, and this is The Experts on Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube. And tonight I'm going to cover what we know so far about this this attack in New York City. It was a terrorist attack. It was performed by an Islamic fundamentalist. I'm going to go into what my sources are telling me, but I also have to protect that information, a lot of the information that they're telling me. So there's some limited things that I can say, knowing more than what most people would know, guarantee of that. And however, I think it's important. The reason I started a little bit early tonight is because I know a lot of people are going to be going out. I'm going to go get something to eat here shortly since I didn't get to do last night. And I want to talk about what you need to keep an eye out for tonight, especially if you're in around New York City, LA, Chicago, any of these big cities. Well, if you're in Chicago, you need to watch out for being shot by somebody with an illegally purchased gun, but that's a whole nother story. So let's get this going. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it. Now, if you haven't done so yet, make sure that you share the show. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm sharing it on some other platforms here. And make sure you're getting that show out there. Share it. If you're on Twitter, retweet it. What the heck is going on with... They'll let Russians freaking on Facebook, but you try to repost something, it's almost impossible. So make sure that you are... Okay, it's on there. It's on there twice. That's okay. Make sure that you are retweeting it on Twitter. Make sure that you are sharing it on Facebook, and make sure you're all subscribing to the YouTube page, because YouTube just doesn't get any love. YouTube, they always cap it at about 26 people, 24 people. So let's get straight into what has happened today. As you may have seen, there was. Let me see if I can pull this up here. See if that comes up. This is off of FoxNews.com. I don't know why this doesn't focus over here. Focus. At least 8 people are dead after a suspect crashed a vehicle, and it's like a Home Depot truck that you can rent. And I actually utilize this bike path quite often. This bike path is pretty cool. It goes almost all the way, or actually I think now it goes all the way around Manhattan, all the way up to the George Washington Bridge, all the way down past Wall Street and Battery Park and all that stuff, and it goes around and goes back up the east side. And so it is a highly trafficked area. And I'm getting, go figure, I start doing this show, I'm getting emails now from people. I've been getting different updates from people. And yes, I am okay. People are wanting to know if I'm okay. Stand by 1 second. And so it was no surprise to me that it was a terrorist attack once I found out that this individual had gotten onto... You know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring up a map so I can show you exactly where this stuff was happening. So, let me see if I can do this here. I don't want to freeze this computer. I don't know if I have Google Earth on here or not, but I'm sure I have maps because it is a Mac. Let's see here. Stand by so I can bring this up here. Oh, there it is. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to bring up the maps, and I'm going to zoom in and show you exactly where this all took place. And as I was saying, a lot of people utilize this this bike path. It's really like a small road that goes right along the West Side Highway and then goes all the way around by the FDR on the east side. And let's see here. Let me type in. Let's see where this has us at. Okay. So automatically New York came up. Okay. So here is, see if this even comes up on the screen here, if it's going to be too bright. Might be too bright. Stand by, people. Stand by. I know. I've got to get a better way to do this. So that's all the way down. Let's see if that... See if that makes a difference on the screen. Oh yeah, there you go. Look at that. Okay. Okay, perfect. That's a little bit better. And I think I'm gonna stop there while I'm ahead. Okay, so basically what happens here is if you have let's see the satellite image, pull that up here. So this is the West Side Highway right here. Okay, I think you can see my mouse moving up and down. This is the West Side Highway, and the bike path itself, if I can zoom in even further, what you're going to see is this little, looks like almost like a smaller road right next to the West Side Highway right here. That is the bike path. So what I believe happened here, what you're seeing, this dark part right here, that's not water. This is water out here actually. What you're seeing right here, this is grass, okay? And apparently this individual started somewhere up around 40th Street. So that would be up here. Let me get up here a little ways. And because the Intrepid is right up here. I think I just passed over the Intrepid, yeah. So the Intrepid is right here. You'll see this is the aircraft carrier museum, the USS Intrepid, which is pretty cool if you ever get a chance to go there. You got the, why am I forgetting the name of this plane? Somebody help me out here with this name of this plane. That is, my brain's on terrorism, not planes right now. The fastest passenger airplane ever. Anybody shout it out. The Concorde. I said it before you guys did. Okay, so the Concorde. You got the SR-71 right here. You got just all these different jets. Cool place to go. So, and actually they have a space shuttle somewhere around here. And there's a submarine. So somewhere right around here, I'm going to venture that this individual probably got on to the West Side Highway somewhere right around where the Circle Line ferries are at. And that's going to be, let's see, there's the Intrepid. And most likely it's going to be right around in here. He probably got on there. I'm assuming because they said he got on onto the West Side Highway. And again, this is looking south. And let's see here. See if I can do this. I think there's a way. Yeah, there you go. There's a way to actually look at it this way. So let me turn it around this way so you'll see basically what he saw if you were. Hold on here a second. Here. This is looking south. Okay. Actually, it is actually looking south right now in reality. So there's the Intrepid right here. And here is the bike path that goes right along this West Side Highway. What I think is going to come out, because they said he got on to the bike path and then got back off of it. I'm thinking that he probably somewhere around here got on the bike path around the 40s, and basically I don't know if he tried to mow people over or was just driving down there. A lot of times there's not as many people riding along the West Side Highway right here. And just for another frame of reference, this is Madison Square Garden right here. Right, so straight across from the West Side Highway. Again, I know this is it's a little bit darker here. Let me see if I can pull this up a little bit now. A little too bright. So I really want you guys to see this. Got to see how it comes up on the screen here. Okay, that's a little bit better. So again, just for a frame of reference, Madison Square Garden's right here. Times Square is going to be, well, there's the Empire State Building. Times Square is, there's Central Park. So Times Square is going, that's Fifth Avenue. Times Square is going to be right around here. So you're going to see, again, there's the Intrepid. There's Madison Square Garden. This guy got on somewhere around in here, and then ended up going back down the West Side Highway, getting back on to this bike path, and then ended up right down here is where where you see the pictures of all the people that have been killed. You're going to see there's a school right here, and here's this bridge. You see, that's the bridge that you keep seeing on the news reports. So this right around in here is where Chambers Street is, and I do believe the vehicle is right here. I believe is where it came to stop. It's either there or it's right here, one of the two. So again, you'll see the bike path as I zoom in a little bit. This is actually the bike path right here. And this is where the killing occurred today. He got on this bike path off the West Side Highway, and this is like a cement wall that runs along on both sides of this bike path. But right here, there's typically ballards in the ground, steel barriers that don't allow you to pull up on this. But I think that in some of these cases, because of maintenance, you may not be able to. Or you may be able to get onto this. So nonetheless, he got on this West Side Highway, drove down here, running over people. Very simple attack. Nothing really that took a lot to think this thing through. And for another frame of reference, let me zoom out here, and what you're going to see is the Freedom Tower is right here, and this is where the World Trade Center was. For those of you that have visited New York City, you're going to see this is the footprint of the World Trade Center right here. This is where the two buildings were. This is the Freedom Tower, and right here is where the majority of the killing that you just saw occurred. Right here, right in this little block area right here, or 2 or 3 block area. I'm trying to see where that bridge is. So there's the bridge. So right around in here, there again, there's the Freedom Tower, and it's right around in here where the attack actually culminated. Another interesting thing about this area, this pier right here, or right in this area, is where the original pier was, where the man, I'm having a terrible time with names today. The ship that sunk way back when, and when it was supposed to go from Europe over to here. I'll think of that here in a second. Titanic was supposed to dock right here, and of course, never made it. So a lot of interesting things have occurred in this little area right here, on the southern tip. I don't know what just happened there. On the southern tip of Manhattan, and there it is. I'm turning it around there. On the southern tip of Manhattan, Wall Street area is around in here. The Statue of Liberty is right. Where is she? Statue of Liberty is right down here. There she is, right there. And Ellis Island, right here. The tip of Manhattan, Wall Street area is right here. And again, the Twin Towers stood right there, and the Freedom Tower stands right there. And then this little area is where the killing happened today, and that is where the Titanic was supposed to come in and never did. So a lot of interesting things have happened in and around this area right here. But as you can see, there is no doubt in my mind, and I know for a fact. I mean, I knew once I found out that he got off of the bike path and then got back on it, that this was definitely a terrorist attack. Now, I'm sorry, it's hard for me to analyze this. At the same time, I'm doing this with my computer, so bear with me on that. But, so, getting back to this, what can we take away from this? One, I can't go into a lot of the details of the stuff that I know already, but I can guarantee you this individual is going to be a part of something larger than just this himself. I'm getting a report that they have a car surrounded at Home Depot in Passaic, and I don't know if anybody's in that car, but I do know that he rented the U-Haul truck in New Jersey, so that would make sense of that. Of course, Rico's going to get up and try to add his 2 cents in. And so my source is just letting me know that the car is surrounded right now and down in Passaic. Now, there could be stuff in there that may be why they're surrounding it. There may be other people there involved. But I have no doubt, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this was not an individual attack, okay? This may have been an individual who carried the attack out. But remember, people work a lot of the time in sales. They work, there's planners, there's people that actually carry the attack out, there's people who fund things, what have you. I don't know exactly. I've heard reports that the guy got out and actually had a gun. I've heard reports that was actually an airsoft or a some type of a like a paintball gun. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the details are there, but here's the striking things that came out when I was listening to witnesses. First and foremost, I think there was false testimony, not false testimony, but false reports that the bus driver heroically ran in front of this guy with their bus. They said it was an empty bus, that they ran in front of the vehicle to stop it. Now, I haven't seen a bus that had nobody on it that did that. What I did see was a small bus with they actually showed a video of the couple of kids in there, which I wish they hadn't have, but it looked like they were special needs children, and the bus was sideswiped, and one of the children is in critical condition. So, look, it's a good, whether it's a good thing or not that bus was there, it stopped the attack, and unfortunately, it sounds like some of these children were injured. So, don't know about the heroics there, but that's the way people spin. I'm sure there's some media personnel that wanted to spin this up and make it look like it was something, and then that just got taken and pushed out. So that was the first thing. The second thing was that I heard witnesses say that they saw this and they thought it was some kind of a prank or stunt. Now, folks, every time we hear one of these attacks occurring, we always hear people say that they thought it was a stunt or they thought it was some kind of a trick. I'm here to tell you, folks, you have to stop assuming that something is a stunt or a trick. In Vegas, people said they thought it was fireworks when the shooting was going off. How many concerts have you ever been to where they have rapid fire fireworks? They may have flames that shoot up, they may have this or that, but you need to start responding as though your first thing in your brain should be, what is this? What's happening? I don't know if this is correct or not. All right, that's the way you need to start responding now, instead of thinking that this is probably just a prank. How many people do you know drive down the West Side Highway with a Home Depot truck? Remember, a lot of times they rent these vehicles. It's a Home Depot truck for fun, because it's funny when it's packed with people. People are not prepared for this stuff. You have to get your mind in place. I'm not going to sit here and senselessly plug my book that you see scrolling across the screen right here, and I always have a hard time pointing at it, but that's what this book teaches. It's going to teach you how to look at yourself from an attacker's point of view, so you can look at the different sectors of your life and determine where your critical areas are, what the critical times for those. Like the West Side Highway, which I just had up here, or this bike path. So this is a school where this actually happened, where the location where this happened, and this is not going to be a huge target at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not going to be a lot of people down in this area at 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's not a critical time. But as soon as school's getting out right here, that's going to be a critical time. A lot of people are riding bikes around or 12 o'clock when kids are going to lunch, or at the time when this actually happened. So you have to look at your life, where the critical areas are. This is a very critical area. That's a very critical time, and you should be aware of that. So again, let me say this again. I can't say this enough. This whole thing is a critical area. If you visit this area, it's called New York City. It's called Manhattan. It's where I live, right? If you visit this area, There's the Statue of Liberty, Wall Street, all this stuff, Central Park, Times Square, the Intrepid Museum, Madison Square Garden, all this stuff. Chinatown's right down here. FBI office right down there. If you visit Brooklyn, Queens, all over here, Staten Island, if you live there, that's probably the only reason why you go to Staten Island. Just kidding. And this is Jersey. But this is a hotbed. This is a huge bullseye right here. Right? I'll show you the biggest bullseye. The biggest bullseye is Times Square. Let me zoom in here. People trick-or-treating outside. I can hear them. See, there's Bryant Park. No, that's the Flatiron Building right here. So if we come back up here, again, I'm going to have to zoom in. It's kind of hard to get in there and zoom in on Times Square. You know, we're looking at Times Square right here, right? There you go. There's Times Square. All along down through here. Oh, this is all Times Square. That's the biggest bullseye in the world right there. But that, Times Square, as you see as I zoom out where my pointer is, it's just a big part of a huge soft target called New York City, called Manhattan. This is a critical area. There are different times for different places that are critical. I just showed you where Madison Square Garden is. It's also Penn Station. Let's see, where is it here? Doop, 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 doop. Where's Penn? There it is. It's being blocked by something here. Okay, it's being blocked by a building. So here's Madison Square Garden right here. Okay, 7th Avenue runs right in front of it. This is actually side view. So okay, so here's 7th Avenue right here. Nope, I'm sorry, that's 8th Avenue. 7th Avenue is right here. That just doesn't look right. Nope, I was wrong. 7th Avenue is right here. Okay, that's the big building. It's in front of it. So you go underneath this, and that is where Penn Station is at. And, oh, this isn't working. So, sometimes technology just doesn't work. In fact, this map is off. It's not, that's not correct. So, Madison Square Garden's right here regardless. Madison Square Garden's here. And Penn Station is right under there. And when you come there, almost all the time, there's a soft target. This is a soft target right here. So this is almost like, I'd say, a 20-hour soft target. Maybe there's a couple hours at night when not as busy. But pretty much if you're around this area right here, you know this is where something could possibly happen. Almost all the time. Times Square, just right over here, same thing. Up until about 3 o'clock in the morning, that place is vulnerable to an attack. You scroll over here to the Intrepid Museum, somebody who's an anti-war protester and they don't like war, and you scroll down here, this is primarily a soft target when there's a big event at night or during the day when this is open. You get where I'm coming at. These are soft targets. These are where areas where people gather. You go up here a little bit north. You have Central Park, Columbus Circle right here. Columbus Circle is a big soft target during the day. In the evenings, not quite so much. Although sometimes in the evenings it gets packed there. Central Park has its times. There's the big Shepherd's Field where they have concerts at. I believe that's it right here. They have, that's a huge vulnerability there when they have concerts. You come way up here. I'm just showing you guys this because I'm wanting you to get an idea of what I'm talking about here. What do you have here when you zoom in? The thing that I always talk about, always talking about this, Yankee Stadium. In fact, why don't we just, I'm going to show you a report I did on CNN. Let me pull that up, and then I'll discuss this more. But I actually talked about CNN when I was a contributor there, and I talked with one of the hosts there of the show about the soft target. Let me bring this up real quick. Hold on here. Stand by. Stand by to stand by. I'm making this computer work overtime. You'll find this interesting, so just stand by. Okay. Whoop. So let me bring this up here. And you will see how long I've been talking about this stuff. Why do they make it so hard to search for stuff on YouTube? It should be much easier than this. Stand by. Looks like I just killed the map. All right, here it is.
What do you have here? I know you wanted to show us something.
So, okay, so what I have here is I drew a picture. Let's see if we can see it. I drew a picture of basically Yankee Stadium, okay? So basically what we have here is, you see how, and I know this is a crude drawing, but Yankee Stadium is surrounded by large roads.
Right.
And on a day when there's a game, just any game, not any special game, people will actually file in here. And as they come in, you know, at the beginning of the game, people will yeah, there you go. People will file in, and they'll come like to to the different gates, single file, and they kind of randomly go in.
Right.
We think of this whole thing as a soft target. A lot of people do, but the reality is this is pretty hardened right here. At the end of the game, however, most people exit out of these three areas where you will have at one point in this area right here, you will have 20,000 people exiting a stadium at the same time with a road that is not closed. So what you have there is you have created a soft target, and airports are the same way. And the reason I even brought this up is because I want people to realize when they go to the airport, when they go to a stadium and arena, a concert, church, a school, or a mall, for instance, they have to be able to identify where these large groups are and where an attacker is going to look to attack.
And
so as you see, I've been screaming this for quite some time now. And let's see what happened here. Oh, I bet I know what happened. Somehow I got zoomed out there. Whoa. Where'd we go? Yep, Manhattan. Come on. All right, let me try that again. There we go. Let's do a little dive in here and go up here to back up to Yankee Stadium, which I was just talking about. And here it is. Now that was a crude drawing, and I don't know if you could actually see the drawing. But here's Yankee Stadium right here. And as we zoom in, and I'm going to get this back to the actual attack as I was talking about there just a second ago. So here's Yankee Stadium. Here's the train. Here is the road that goes right in front of. There's actually a road that goes underneath where the train is here as well. And there's a couple of gates here that you can go in, and a couple of gates there that you can go in. But there's also, and I can't ever figure out why they made Yankee Stadium this way. There's side entrances and exits over here that you can also go in and out of, but nobody really ever uses these side exits. And I think they should do a much better job of this. As you can see right here is one of the main entrances, And where this is at, if you focus in on this, and I think I could go down and actually look at the road, is what you have here is a walkway where there's a huge drop-off right here and steps that go down. But instead of opening this up, because they don't want to close this road down, they have a fence that goes all the way along the rail here until you have to go down these steps, right? So this area right here will end up having anywhere from, I don't know, 10 to 20, 30,000 people at any given time when the game is over with. Huge, huge soft target. So all of these things that I've been talking about here, and I'm sorry about the long explanation of that, all this stuff is going on every single day in New York City. You have Giant Stadium over here. Let's see, where's that at over here? Here's the stadium where the Giants play right here. So you see how close that is. So you have all these things going on in and around the area of Manhattan, right? Today they chose this little area right here, and this is where 8 people have died. So this was a soft target today. This bike path is a big soft target because you do have vehicle access to get on there. I don't know in their infinite wisdom why they have allowed that to continue, but they do. And this is a school, and this is where the people were killed. So the look at me trying to do this right here. Doesn't work on a regular screen, Jonathan. So in a nutshell, this is what I want you all to take away from this. There are soft targets, pockets of soft targets all over this city at any given time, in any city for that matter. This is a bigger cookie of the same cookie cutter sheet that lays out cities all over the world. So what you have to do is you have to look at each one of these soft targets and look at the places where you visit. Do you ride a bike here every day or a scooter like I do? Do you go to school here? Do you teach here? Some of the people injured are teachers and students. Are you going to a concert at Madison Square Garden? Are you going to a Yankees game? Are you going to go to a museum up here? Are you going to take a ferry across? All these different things are soft targets. They're where people congregate. So what you have to do is you have to ask yourself, Madison Square Garden, I'm going to go there and see a concert. What is the most critical time for this concert? Actually, this is right. Yeah, that's where you enter into Penn Station right here. And you go through this building and you go right here. Same thing with Penn Station. You get people filter into a concert or game. They all come out at the same time. You have to ask yourself, if I'm going here, what is the best way for me to avoid the main area where people are going to congregate? And that's the biggest soft target. Maybe you come out and you make a direct left. Maybe you come out this door. Maybe you get on a train and go way away from Penn Station, a subway, just to get away from there. Whatever the case, you have to realize there are alternatives that most likely they're not going to attack in the same place at a given time. And if you hear something, you've already identified that this is an area that's dangerous. This is a time when that area is dangerous. So if you hear something that sounds like fireworks, then you're going to run because you're already going to realize that is not a fireworks, or that's not somebody playing a prank. It's probably something that's actually happening. And so your mind is going to be set that way. So that's what I really want you all to leave with tonight as you go out and you go to this parade that's happening down here in New York City, or you're going to go to I don't know, you're riding on the bike path, or you're going to go to a concert somewhere. Is it a critical area? Is it a place where people congregate before or after the thing that you're going to do? Is it a hardened target like Yankee Stadium or Madison Square Garden where it's difficult to get in there and there's lots of cops around there? Or is it not hardened like a theater, for instance, like one of the Radio City Music Hall? A lot of security there. Sometimes there's cops, sometimes there's not, depending on what the event is. Always the event is packed, so there should be cops there all the time. But is it a hardened target? Is it not a hardened target? What are the times it's going to be most critical, and what areas around it are going to be most critical at what times? Think about this stuff. It's not hard. They do their homework, and they figure it out. How do you think they were able to pick a place this obscure out of all these soft targets in this city? How do you think that the attackers chose to go down this bike path and hit this place. They might have been familiar with it, but most likely they realized that the West Side Highway and this bike path has a huge amount of traffic on it, and by and large, people are not even in tune with what's going on. So you have to be aware, and you have to do the same thing that they're doing. You have to look at yourself from a target, as a target from an attacker's point of view, and then systematically eliminate your possibility of being caught up in these attacks by just staying away or having a plan on what to do if you see something, so you don't turn around and say, I don't know, the guy hit me. I thought it was a joke. I thought, or I thought those were fireworks. Next thing you know, I got shot in the leg. Look, don't think anymore, except for the fact that this could be something big. If it is or if it isn't, you're going to be alive. Plain and simple. Now, let me pull this off here. What I want people to realize, another thing is, I keep hearing, and this dirtbag has, what I'm starting to see is, he has a girlfriend and 3 children in Patterson, New Jersey. Great. He bred. Unfortunately, we can't keep people from breeding. So, and listen, that's what's going to happen in this country. They're going to do the same thing they're doing in every other country. They're going to come in here with their fundamental beliefs, and they're going to continue to breed until they get to a point where they have more of them than us. Am I talking about Muslims? I'm talking about fundamental Muslims. I'm not talking about your average day Muslim who goes out there and does what they do and lives their life and doesn't want to be bothered. I'm talking about people who have fundamental beliefs that want to take over the world. That's what I'm talking about. And they, just like, liberals are having children like crazy so they can, the socialists so they can change this country. Same thing here. I'm not a paranoid guy. Trust me. I'm very aware and I see what's happening. So, what you need to understand, this guy is not a lone wolf. We need to get away from that word. He is a fundamental Islamic jihadist. That's what he is. He's a fundamental Muslim. And he and the other guys that I'm sure, other people that are out there that helped plan this or that he's a part of, I don't think this guy's crazy. I think he is a jihadist, and I think he had a fundamental belief, and he was looking for some virgins, but he's too much of a wimp to take himself out. Of course, he wouldn't get his virgins that way, and so the NYPD did him a favor. They shot him a couple times, and now he's in the hospital, and hopefully he'll live, and he'll get his ass handed to him in prison somewhere. But you cannot look at these people as lone wolves. If you want to call them something, everybody's got to have a label. Call them a Muslim or call them a homegrown operative. Maybe this guy's an American citizen. I don't know. I'm waiting to hear whether or not he's an American citizen. But he's a homegrown operative. He's somebody who grew up here, or I'm assuming he's from here, and he is operating under the direction, whether it comes from somebody far away. I was seeing reports that ISIS is telling its fighters inside the United States and Europe to attack tonight for Halloween. He's not a lone wolf. He's following an ideology. So he's an ideological attacker that is homegrown. That's what it is. And somebody just wrote on here, political Islam. It's not political Islam. It's Islam. I mean, that's just what it is. I used to call it, I never called it radical because I never thought it was radical. I always looked at Muhammad and I saw him doing the same thing. So that's I believe it's the same thing. Again, tomorrow I'd love to see Muslims get up and just be furious about this, but I can almost 100% guarantee you it is not going to happen. I don't know who this idiot is who keeps saying Zionists importing Islam, but dude, whoever that is, just stop, because now you're going down a path of conspiracy theories and other politics. Look, this is Islam. It's what Islam did 1,400 years ago under the guise of Muhammad. It's what's happening now. It's raised its ugly head many times throughout history in that 1,400 years. It is what it is. It is what it is. Twitter's got some of the weirdest people on there. Makes you wonder. Makes you wonder. All right. I think that's about it. And have a safe and happy Halloween. Go out there and have some fun. Just be aware. Don't go out and get so smash drunk that you can't walk, or like that idiot that was at that concert in Vegas where he's standing up flipping the bird while everybody else is equally doing something stupid, laying down on the ground as though that's going to shield you from bullets. I mean, if you're going to lay on the ground, you better start crawling somewhere or finding a hole to get in. That's another thing I learned in Ranger School, is that if you can get in an indention that's 18 inches deep or more, your survivability goes up 50%. So remember that as well. All right, that's it. I'm going to eat something. I'm going to take Rico for a walk, and I'm not going to the parade. I would not want to be anywhere around that. First of all, it's a drunk fest. It's a weirdo fest, and it's on the night that ISIS is telling people to attack targets for Halloween, and one has already happened. I'm going to sit this one out. I'm going to sit it out. That's it. Anybody else got anything? Too late. What? Robin Shelter, too late. Okay, one other thing. I'm going to advertise my book again. It comes out December 12th. Order it today. That way, and tell everybody about it. If you got to order 10 of these things to give them to your families, it's not that expensive of a gift, okay? It's $15 on Amazon. I think they discount it every now and then. Go out there, order it today. That way, you're not going to miss the first shipment of books when it comes out December 12th. And that way you can quickly get in this, understand fully of what I've been telling you tonight, because I diagram it out so you can see it. I talk about attackers. I talk about how they think. I talk about how they choose targets. I show you how to look at yourself like that from that same perspective. And so you can divvy your life up into sectors and figure out where you would attack you. And then I teach you about the defenses, about the reality, what law enforcement will do and what they won't do, about politics and how they get in the way of this stuff. I talk about, and I give you examples of how friends that I know that I've taught this to have used it and been successful in identifying places, or where they weren't successful, but they learned huge lessons and were able to go back and kind of reiterate how they planned out their security for their life. I also give you a prediction of my own of something that I think is going to happen in the future. Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival. It's right here. It's on Amazon. Just go to Amazon and type in Sheep No More or my name, and it'll pop up there with, there's 2 Sheep No More books on there, right? One's got a picture of a sheep. The other one has this, all right? This is my book. I didn't write a book about sheep. I wrote a book about awareness and attack survival. So that's what I want you to do. Go out there. Order that book today. Order 10 of them. If you're really rich, order 1,000 and then donate them to battered women's shelters or something like that. All right, that's what my plan is. I would like to raise a ton of money for people. If you want to donate $1,000, $2,000 to the GoFundMe page, that is another thing that besides the road trips, I'm looking at doing autographed copies for $50 or more. And then get a sponsor to actually order, I don't know, 1,000, 10,000 books on Amazon, and then we distribute them throughout the country to battered women's shelters, to teachers, to students as well, people that work at stadiums and arenas. I'd love to see the NFL and the NBA and Major League Baseball get on this. Look, the NFL needs every bit of help that they can get. They're making enemies more and more every day. And celebrities need to be behind this book. They need to be looking at this book and seeing that they're a target and how the majority of celebrities, I know, I've done security for celebrities. There's some great guys out there, men and women, that work for protection for celebrities. But by and large, you're looking at a bunch of people who have zero experience. They played football or something like that, and then they go to function as a security guard for one of these celebrities who we have seen have been targets in the past. You better get your act together. If you're famous or you're a public figure, read this book, order it, read it. Don't rely on people that don't know how to protect you. The number one person that's going to protect you, even if you have people around you that are so-called bodyguards, is you. You need to understand where the attack could come from, who would attack you, how they would attack you, when they would attack you, and the avenues of approach that they would take, what your vulnerabilities are that they'll exploit. It's all in this book. You need it. Order it. Go out and have a happy Halloween. And I don't really feel like I need to do a Truth Zone tonight. I think I covered it all. So I'm going to just do this. I'll just go at the end of the show. How about that?
Happy Halloween!
I'm going as a newscaster. Let me get this jacket buttoned up. There you go. And that's the news from Manhattan. October 31st, 2017. I'm Jonathan Gillum, reporting live about, well, I'm within 5 miles of that. I'm not going to tell you where I'm at. But I do see somebody who's going to get blocked on Twitter. Weirdos, man. Hold on a second. This ought to be fun. Let's see here. I'm going to block this guy. Population control block. All right. Again. Let me get back into my... See, you're ruining my groove, you weirdos on Twitter. Be unified. Have dialogue. Come back here tomorrow. We'll cover more of the news. Hopefully it'll be none of this nonsense that happened today. Maybe I'll just get back into my white t-shirt tomorrow. Have a good night. Be safe. Look at that. Crouch would be proud of me. He even had the thumb tucked there. Send pictures of what you're dressed as, and maybe I'll put those up tomorrow as well. How about that? How about that? All right, that's it. I'll just let you hear this music on the way out. I love you. Be safe. Be aware. Know your critical areas. Know the critical times for those areas. Know the vulnerabilities that can be exploited, like if you don't have another way that you can go, wait 5 minutes, wait 10 minutes, let it clear out, then you go. You'll be less likely to be caught up in an attack. The other vulnerability is just overall lack of awareness. People don't set off fireworks at concerts. They don't drive down bike paths in big trucks as a joke. Be aware. Your first response should be tactical. I got to get out of the way. I got to move this way. Let's get my family and get out of here. But that's not going to happen if you don't have a plan to act. Remember, as we say in law enforcement and the military, action always beats reaction. And so that's what you have to do. You have to act. I'm Jonathan Gillum. My little buddy over there has been waiting for me all day long. We were just about to go for a walk when this happened. I'm going to take him out for a walk now. Remember, we're all in this together. And just like, well, that's my OCS picture, wrong picture. Just like the birds here, helping this little baby not fall. That's what we got to do, folks. If you're involved in something like this and you see something going on, don't be the person who just runs away and leaves everybody else. Be bold and tell people, you got to go left, you got to go right, get out of here, run. Do what you have to do to stay alive, take care of each other, stand with each other, and this country will prosper and continue to prosper. Happy Halloween. I'm Jonathan Gillum. Here's Rico. This is The Experts. And always remember, wherever this face is at, the truth has arrived, real analysis has arrived, and your best interest is right here. I'll see you tomorrow.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween!
How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.
Go get that book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival. Available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Go get it and have a happy, happy, happy Halloween.